You are listening to the Estheticians Earning More podcast with Brittany Hageman, episode number 206. I am so happy to be back with you today. I'm so sorry that I was gone for the month of July. It was completely and totally unintentional. I had very, very little childcare in the month of July, and that meant that I only really helped my clients. And any extra time I had, I didn't. Like literally every hour my daughter was at camp, I was talking to a client, and that was it. It was very, very short hours, but she's back in school, longer hours. So I have more time to do this kind of stuff, which I absolutely love. And I've missed the podcast and I've missed talking to you every week. So happy to be back. So today we're going to talk about something that I work with a lot of my clients on, and that's finding time in your schedule to grow your business and make more money. Now, I want to just give a caveat to those of you who are not quite at this stage, just some quick tips I have for you to get to this stage. So this is really for someone who's booked or fully booked or pretty close to fully booked, and they want to make more money in their business, but they don't feel like they have the time for it. And if you aren't there yet, some of the tips are helpful for you as well. But so if you're not there, if you're not booked or fully booked yet, I want you to treat the hours that your business is open as hours that you're working your job. So if you're open from, 12 to 8, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and then 9 to 5 on Thursday, Friday, I'm just making up numbers. Those hours are your business hours. And you, even if you're not booked, you need to be only working on your business during those hours. You're not grocery shopping. You're not getting your nails done. You're not going to the doctor. You were treating it as like those are actual clients. And that's when you're doing all of the work for your business. I know this can feel exhausting, but if you really spend that time working, then you can be off when you're off. If working at home or working at your treatment room, if you don't have clients, is hard for you, I highly recommend going to a coffee shop, the library, somewhere so you can get all that admin work done, and also just going out in the public and meeting people and talking to people. So important. So if you're not fully booked and it's a Tuesday, go out and meet people. Like literally go out and meet people. If you need help with this, go back and find my episode with Brittany Wood from Soul Dad Mountain Spa. She was very, not camera shy, but just like wasn't really like inclined to go online. Now she's much more comfortable online. She posts all the time, but that was kind of nerve-wracking for her. So she just went out and talked to people all the time about her business. Told people everywhere she went. She went many different places and met people. And that's initially how she started to grow her business. And then other ways she's kind of gotten more comfortable with online. So if you are fully booked, and let's say you're right now at around $8,000 or $9,000 a month consistently, and you would like to make more money, the first things that I want you to do is to look at basic numbers of your business to see either where you're not making money and you could be. That would be the first thing. Where you're bleeding money, and figure out what you want to grow in your business to make more money. That may seem very simple. Like, of course, those are things you should be thinking about. But myself included, sometimes those things are just not things we think about because we're thinking about all the other things, right? So are there areas in your business that you could make money that you aren't? So that usually is product sales. That's usually pricing. Is your products, you're not selling products to most people, like 80% of your clients, your prices are really low. That would be the first thing that I would change. And then, are you bleeding money anywhere? It's such a weird phrase. But what that basically means is like, are you doing brow laminations and it takes you 35 minutes and you make $25 versus another service where you make double amount of money in that time? It can feel a little bit overwhelming if you get those numbers and you figure that out. And I'm not saying you have to drop brow lamination or whatever you are that bleeding money, You just need to know that's kind of where you are and where you need to start focusing your energy and booking people and tracking people to the services that you will make more money and you aren't bleeding money. If you have those two things figured out, the next thing that I want you to figure out is where else would you like to make money? The most natural place that I've seen with my clients, and I've also in myself as a business owner, was to increase product sales and sell more online. I wouldn't say it's the easiest thing. It's simple. It's not easy. It's work, but it can bring in a good amount of money. The downsides of that is people are buying products that maybe aren't that good for them, and then they're unhappy and they don't buy them again, or they want returns. So thinking through ways to kind of make that not as a common of occurrence. So doing virtual consultations, things like that, things that you can kind of ensure that the right product's in the right person's hands. But adding, whether it be adding like posts, reels, TikToks, stories, where you're talking about products, if you do it consistently, the time is very low with the return you can get. And when I say consistently, I mean like 5 to 6 stories a day and minimum of 1 post a day. And I know that may feel really overwhelming for you if you are busy and booked. If you're not busy and booked, that is totally doable. It does not take that much time. If you're busy and booked, that may feel really overwhelming. And so we want to look at ways that you can do that doesn't take a lot of time. And one of the things that's the most effective currently right now, July 2025, when I'm recording this, is any kind of like carousel post, not necessarily even a video, or a quick video, like 30 seconds. You're investing 30 seconds and then adding your link. We are not editing. We are not going into CapCut. We are not doing 17 takes. We have just sold a product to a client who's bought it 10 times, and we are in between clients and we make a TikTok, a 30-second TikTok talking about how much that client loves the product and this is where you can buy it on a TikTok shop. So I really want you to look at it as like little things you can fit in your day. And I know it can be really hard switching tasks. This is something I've talked about in the podcast before. We're not naturally good at it, even though we think that we are, especially if you're a woman and multitasking. It technically is multitasking, switching tasks. But the way that I look at it is more like laser focus. So I had this client in my room. She just bought this cleanser for me for the 8th time. She's telling me how she's never loved any other cleanser before. She leaves. I do my quick room, clean, switch everything around. I have 10 minutes to my next client. I sit down with my phone. I tell that story. It takes me 30 seconds. Send, upload, right? Like done. So you're using the energy of that client that you just had to create content to sell more. So it takes awareness and thought, but you don't have to spend a lot of time planning because you're kind of just going quickly. Now, I've had esthetician clients or known of estheticians that are very busy, that they have someone they work with social media who they do like batch recordings once or twice a month. That is another way of doing it if you want to sell more products. Personally, that has never been my thing. I do all my own everything. But that totally can work if it works in your budget and everything like that. Another tip that I have to grow money when you are limited on time is to really think about niching down maybe even more than you have. And I talked about at the beginning of the podcast, like if you have services that are bleeding you money, then really looking at phasing that out over a period of time. And this can be complicated, and this can be emotional, and this can feel hard and weird, but you are a business. And yes, relationships and connections is one of the things that's built on the business, but the business has to make money. And if you aren't making at least 10 grand in your business a month, you aren't really able to pay yourself that much money. I mean, unless you have like virtually no expenses, and there's some situations like that, but you really have to look at it as if you have the demand for services that are higher priced and you are doing services that aren't priced very high, you are really hurting yourself. Now, don't go and eliminate things from your service menu that people are buying and no one's buying the like really expensive chemical peel you have or whatever. You need to first have that demand of the chemical peel clients that want that big ticket item. So if that means you're fully booked doing, I keep saying brow laminations, but let's just use that example, brow laminations and not making a lot of money, in between clients or in those gaps of time, you are promoting your chemical peel. Every single brow lamination client, you talk about it and mention it to them and say, like, even if they themselves are not interested, anyone that you know who struggles with X, Y, and Z, and really kind of being all you talk about. Now, I'm not saying the entire time they're there, that's all you talk about. You talk, like when they ask you, like, what's going on with you? That's what you talk about. And then once you say that, you can move on. And it may be an awkward conversation because they may be someone who's not interested in that. And then now you feel weird, but they may know someone who is, and they love you and they want to help you. So you can see how that's connected. So I want you to think about, like, pull back and think about it in like, who of my clientele knows about this chemical peel series? Do they know the price? Do they know who it helps? Do they know how quickly it works? Like, do they have the basic, like, quote unquote, elevator pitch of it? Do they have that knowledge? If not, they need to. I think back to when I first opened up BLH Beauty in San Diego. Every person, whether they came in for me for waxing, they did makeup, they were a facial client, they knew I focused and specialized in acne. The only time I didn't tell that to people is if they had acne. So I didn't want to embarrass them, make them feel weird. But everybody else knew. Like, everyone knows what I did. Just like now, I have a skincare brand. Everywhere I go, I tell people all the time. It's awkward. It's not my favorite. Sometimes I'd rather just not. More often than not, I'd rather just not tell people. Because I get a full variety of reactions when I tell people. Some people just smile and nod. Some people are really excited and interested. Some people are not at all interested. And that's just how it goes. And like, one of my best customers so far in my skincare business is my realtor who helped me buy my house that I live in 2 years ago. Now, I understand that there's like an invested interest that she has, but she's bought so many products. She keeps being like, I love these products. Like, every time I launch a new product, she's like, I want to buy it. And like, I didn't expect that. But when I opened my business, I sure as heck told her about it. You know why? Because she's a realtor and she knows a lot of people. You know what I mean? She could have just been like nice and never, that's fine. And that's also a possibility. So if you are, long story short, if you're trying to phase out a service you're not making a lot of money of, then you need to be a walking, talking version of the service you're trying to promote. And my last tip on this is, and this is so hard to do, that's why I did a big sigh. It's so hard to do, but if you can start to really master it, it does make it more effective. And that is taking away the emotion around the wanting to make more money. And what I mean by that is you really want to make more money. And usually there's like angst or like nervousness. There's feelings attached to that are usually feelings of not feelings you necessarily are comfortable having. But if you just look at it as just a task, and you're not attaching telling someone about your new chemical pill series that you are offering as an actual instant buy. You're not connecting the two. It's just like literally telling someone something and not expecting anything in return. It becomes a lot less scary and a lot more easy. And personally, I think it's more effective because you're not so attached and graspy. Graspy, attached energy is not fun. I know that because I've had that energy many a times, and I'm sure I will again. And so part of what I do is I always just like try to detach my emotions from the work tasks, because that can also make it seem like it's a lot more time and energy than it really needs to be. If you're like, I can't do a 30-second video about a product in between clients, it's probably because in your head you want that 30-second video to make 3 sales of that product, and you're so afraid that you're going to put 30 seconds of your life out there and no one's going to even look at it, and you're going to just feel like the biggest failure. Right? Versus like, check, like it's just like a thing that you do, and there's no emotional. It's like if someone just told you this is what you got to do your job, you just do it. You just do it. Okay, that's it for today. I'll be back next week. Have a fantastic week. Bye for now.